Hello all, myself Madhavi Nawarkar from Tekeva Polytechnic. Today we are going to discuss the third unit, Entity Relationship Model, from the subject Principles of Database. At the end of this session, you will be able to develop the relational databases using Entity Relational Modeling approach, or you can draw multiple entity relationship diagrams. E-R model. In the previous lecture, we have seen different data models, that is hierarchical, network, relational, and object-oriented. Now in this lecture, we are going to see E-R model. E-R stands for Entity Relationship Model. This is a visual representation of data that describes how the data is related to each other. Next, this is the pictorial representation where you are going to describe how the data of the database is going to connect. In other words, it is the graphical technique for understanding and organizing the data independent of the actual database implementation. Means in E-R model, you are going to just design the database. You are not going to actually implement that. It defines the conceptual view of a database. Means it gives only the concepts. E-R model works around real world entities and the associations among them. Now we will see what are the different components required for designing the E-R model. The first and most important component is entity. Entity is what? It is the object. It is the real world thing, means which you can view. It is a thing or an object in a real world that can be distinguished from all other objects. Means, for example, company, job, university course, person, these are the entities. Suppose we can say there are two persons. Those are twins, but there is some difference. So that is the entity. Any real world, real life thing, object can be considered as a entity. The entity is represented using rectangle, and name of the entity should be written into that. Then the second component is relationship. Relationship represents the association between two entities, two or more entities. Means how one entity is related to another. It is represented by diamond. For example, suppose in this case, two entities are there, student and course. Those are connected using the relationship that is enrolled in. The student is enrolled into the course. Then the third component is attribute. Attribute is nothing but the property or characteristic or feature of an entity. For example, person is there, then name, age, birth date, these are the attributes. Attribute is represented by using ellipse. There are different types of attributes. The first type is simple attribute. Simple means it is a single one. These are the atomic. Atomic means which cannot have parts or which cannot be divided. For example, phone number is there. We cannot divide or we cannot break that phone number. So it is the simple attribute. The second type of attribute is single valued attribute. As the name suggests, single valued means this attribute can have only one value. For example, age of a student. Age of a student can have only one value. It cannot have more than one. It is also displayed using the ellipse. Then the third type is composite attribute. Composite attribute means it is the combination attribute. And this attribute can be divided into parts. Or we can say this is made up of multiple simple attributes. For example, student's name can have first name, middle name, last name. Now in this example, name is the composite attribute, first name and last name is the simple attribute. Then the next attribute is multi-valued attribute. Multi-valued attribute means the attribute which can have multiple values. For example, phone number can have multiple values. So it is a multi-value. The notation for multi-valued attribute is double ellipse. And the name of that attribute will be written into that ellipse. Next attribute is derived attribute. Derived attribute means this is the attribute which can be derived, which can be calculated, which can be taken from another attribute. For example, if you are going to calculate the age, that can be calculated from date of birth and current date. The derived attribute can be displayed using dashed ellipse. Then the next type of attribute is key attribute. This is the attribute which uniquely identifies any particular entity. Means it can be any column which can be used for unique identification. The name of the key attribute is underline. And this key attribute is basically used for representing the primary key of any database table. So see, in this example, roll number is taken as a key attribute, as roll number can be used for unique identification of the student. The next topic is entity set. Entity set means it is a collection or group of entities. For example, set of students, that is the entity set. Set of teachers, that is entity set. There are basically two types of entity set, strong and weak. Strong entity set means this is the set which can have sufficient attributes to define the primary key. Means this set can have one attribute which can be taken as a primary key. Primary key means for unique identification. The strong entity set is represented using rectangle. This is also called as owner entity set. Second type is weak entity set. This is the opposite. Means this does not have sufficient attribute to define the primary. Weak entity set totally depends on strong entity set. This is represented using double rectangle. And the relationship between the strong and weak entity set is represented by a double diamond sign. These are the symbols used in ER diagram. We have just learned this. We will just summarize. Rectangle is used for entity, diamond for relationship, ellipse for attribute, double rectangle for weak entity, double diamond for weak entity relationship, multi-value attribute by double ellipse, key attribute by ellipse and the name should be underlined, and last one is composite attribute. See, this is a sample ER diagram. There are two entities, loan and payment. Loan has the attributes loan number, amount, customer ID. Loan number is the key attribute, so it is written and underlined because this is the primary key, this is the unique one. And payment is the weak entity as payment depends on loan. If loan is not there, then there is no point of payment. So the payment depends on loan. And payment in loan is connected using the relationship loan payment. It is the weak relationship. Now we will see what are the different advantages of ER model. ER model is conceptually simple because we can identify entities, attributes and we can easily draw. Then better visual representation. As we have seen one sample diagram, it is easy to understand. Effective communication tool. It is an effective communication tool for the database designers. Then highly integrated with relational model. You can convert this ER model easily to relational model. Or it can be easily converted to any data model like hierarchical or network. Now these are the shortcomings or drawbacks of ER model. we can't describe the process, but it only displays the data. It can just display entities, relationships like this, but it cannot display the process, how it is going. There is no any special notation, there is no industry standard for ER data. Then it is difficult to show data manipulation in ER model. ER model is only for the diagrammatic representation. It cannot show the manipulation, means to insert, update, delete, like this. And these ER models are not used for the new and complex applications like CAD/CAM applications, multimedia applications. It can be used for any database applications. So, in this lecture, we have seen the ER model with its components and how to draw the ER model. In the next lecture, we will see the advanced or extension of ER model, that is EER. Thank you.